That song is powerful. You can make a point about masterful writing, irregardless of the content of the song. Thank you so much, Craig, for the £20 donation. Hey, what's good, my people? What is up? What's good? What's happening, everybody? Welcome to it. A very exciting first step and a very exciting endeavor for me. It's the very first episode of The Game with MarazA. This podcast has been boiling and simmering in my mind and my heart of hearts for a very long time. I've toyed with this idea on multiple occasions. I've tried different things, and in the end, I realized that although I enjoy a large variety of podcasts with a large variety of different subject matters on different days of the week and depending on how I feel at the time, the podcast that I wanted to be personally associated with was something that would have the impact that I wish I had received when I was young and coming up and trying to make my way into entertainment. Long before entertainment spread out into all these different kinds of formats. Long before the idea of the podcast was even a thing. So I decided to do something called The Game. Many young artists call my show, many young artists send music into my show, and they look for advice on what is the best way to approach the industry, what they can do to maximize their chances of success. And I've noticed so many holes in the way that young artists want to do things and the way they want things to turn out. And I decided to decode and break down the game. Now, I do not claim to be some prophetic messiah who knows exactly each and every single step that one should take, and those steps will guarantee success for eons to come. No, I mean, look at my career, all right? But I definitely know what not to do, and I definitely know people who have done the right things, who have taken the right steps. And I've also learned that what is the right step for someone might not necessarily be the right step for you, especially if you've got one of the most important characteristics of any successful artist right, which is being unique. So in this podcast, I'll be reaching out to various people who have made an impact not only in my life and my career, but also in my perception of the industry and the way I approach and play the game. And that's why my podcasts will all be themed month to month. And for the month of February, the podcast theme is the ground level, building from nothing. More often than not, I come across so many young people who are just blatantly demanding for things to be given to them. And I know that I had to fight for every single thing that I had. And yes, I would not have made it to where I am without a dose of chance, luck, assistance, prayer, but more than anything, hard and diligent work. Chance is opportunity, and opportunity favors the bold, and the bold begin to do the work even when everyone around them says they don't stand a chance. And no one will help anyone who isn't already trying to help themselves. These are the lessons that I'd like for you guys to take from every single episode that will drop every single Friday on this podcast for the entire month of February. The podcast will carry on beyond that, but February is going to be focused on the most important aspects, and that is the ground level, the foundations. That's why I'm so proud to announce today's guest. His name is Ayanda Makukule, and we had a very interesting conversation live yesterday. Oh, by the way, this is a first of its kind. The only podcast that I know of in South Africa anyways that is streamed live. A podcast that you can participate in beyond just comment sections after the fact. Now, I do want 2 comments down below. And if you enjoyed the episode, please hit that like button. But without further ado, let's go straight into the podcast and hear what Jules, this veteran of the game, this pillar of the culture, and someone you sadly may not even know has to drop. All right, so a lot of young people want to get into the game. A lot of young people want to get into the industry. And I would argue those are 2 different things. The game is how you play. And your success in the game is determined by how you move. Just like any game. Take chess. The pawn can move 2 spots forward for the first move, and then 1 spot every other turn after that. You decide, when do you use your first 2 moves? When do you use those on what pawn to open up space for what other character? Because after that, you'll be stifled. You can only move once, but only move sideways to attack. It's a game. It's called chess. There's some pieces are more important than other pieces. But together, even small pieces can make a difference and come together and take out the queen. And a king is only as useful as the structures that they have around them. Only as useful as his bishops, as his queen, as his knights, and as his pawns. But pawns can only take out other pieces diagonally. That's why I always tell homies, yo, be careful of jitas that move sideways. So one of my favorite pieces is the bishop. It's not too far from the king and the queen, but at the same time, it's not too far from the defense walls of the castle. And he's simple. He moves this way, or he moves that way. That's it. Set path. The knight moves in an L shape. Loss. Loss. Where's the bell? Where's the bell? Ding. And the game today is about clout. It's about what pieces you move when and who can you move them against. Whether that person is on the same chessboard as you or not. That's the sad part. And we've had some chess matches that have lasted quite a long time. But generally, you look for easy, predictable moves to make to target specific individuals. And when you take certain pieces out, you have the other player's attention. That's your clout. Now they're on the back foot. Depending on how they react, pretty soon, for one of you, it's checkmate. But the industry is about being the owner of the chess sets. The industry is about being the owner of the chess boards. And if you own the chess set, as many champions can come in as they want. Put in all your pieces. They play them. And they move them to the side and someone gets kicked out, someone loses, someone wins. At the end of the day, that piece of an investment is still yours. It still belongs to you. For me, that is what I see as the difference between the industry and the game. But in order for longevity, you have to be able to play both. You can't be someone who owns a bunch of chess sets and not know how to play chess. You can't, because one day you'll bet the chess set against the chess master, and he will not only take your title, he will not only take your pieces, he will not only take your moves, but he will also take your piece of the industry. It has happened far too many times. And a lot of you don't know why. So today, and for the rest of February, I want to focus on a very simple concept. And that is the concept of staying power and longevity. However, where we're looking at it is what determines it. And that is a strong foundation. A strong foundation. When you build a strong foundation, you have to break new ground. And whenever you break a new ground, you will always seem a little bit crazy. And you can't go to sponsors and say, hey, listen, I just dug some holes. Can you give me some cement and gravel? And some bricks and some doors, some frames, some tiling, some paint, some electrical work, and the rest, so I can build the rest of this building up and get it running and show you what it can do. No. No, unless your mom works there. In which case, how much of it is really your achievement? How much of it is really your achievement? David Dave says it's not easy to break new ground. David, you are absolutely right. It is not easy to break new ground. And that's how it should be. If it was easy to break new ground, there would be no ground left to break. Having to break new ground separates the men from the boys. Having to break new ground separates the women from the girls. Having to break new ground separates the cloud chasers from the taste makers. You chase clouds and you find it, but it's fleeting. Today, I still enjoy meals that were enjoyed by my great ancestors because they were the taste makers. And long after they're gone, that taste still endures. Today, we listen to world music that is so strongly influenced by Ladysmith Black Mambazo. You'd have to have been living under a rock to not notice it. Yet, rest in peace to Baba Msheng Shabalala. They were tastemakers. Too many young artists namhlanje. Are more interested in what can be done for them than what they can do for themselves. So without further ado, I'd like to bring on our guest. Okay, now, if you've ever used the word OG, right? If you've ever used the word OG, more often than not, like South Africa, we use the word OG for someone who is older than us. There was something that Upud Professor said to me. Someone planned a surprise birthday party for me, my wife. And Upud Professor was there and he spoke. I cried and he said, you know, ngimdala ngeminyaka kepha umdala kunathi ku-industry. So mina ngikubuka njengobhuti. He said that at my birthday. I think I'm trying to say 29 or 30, I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken. My wife had money at that time. I'm not say broke man. But what Upud Professor said to me that day was very powerful because Upud Professor is much older than me and is much older than my OG who is on the line right now. And the reason I call him an OG is not only because for me it represents originator, OG ukhona lapho, original guider, original gangster, okay, sure, but more than anything, original groundbreaker. When I first heard of this man, he was a myth. You just hear Gucci, there's something in a place called the Claremont. This is 2008. We were attending sessions like Blazing Fridays. And then suddenly there was this event called the Moment of Truth. Hello, high water, I'm going to be there. I wasn't there to perform. I was there to try and perform. Stage. But more than anything, I was there to witness the culture move forward. That show was 10 rand to get into. You could take yourself and 5 other girls. That's how affordable it was. And because it was affordable, it was packed. Any Durban name that you know today that you think has laid a mark on the game. I'm talking Abdus. I'm talking Zagwe. I'm talking Just That. I'm talking MarazA. I'm talking so many others. I'm talking Duncan, I'm talking 4051, I'm talking Sean G. All of those people. Yakaranda. I myself would not be where I am today if it wasn't for the efforts of this man. And in allow much they would not be where we are today, because if it wasn't for the efforts of Ayanda Makukule. And the reason I say that is because the South African hip hop industry would not be what it is without Back to the City, and it would not be what it is without a moment of truth, without Ama Omas, the original material awards. It would not be what it is without original groundbreakers like the one we have today. Butwami Ayanda Makukule, sawubona razo lam kunjani?
Everything sharp, sharp.
Ucorrect mfethu, ngucorrect. Umence ngizengagqoka ngicabange kaningi ngathi mangibhede ngizogqoka mangabe kukhona irazo on the stream. Ngathi ngithi ngiyabheka ngithi hey le mbala kunemibala eminingi la kuno-pink, goddamn akumeshi neyibuko we akuhambisani newashi. Ngathi nami umencela wami ngathi lineminciza, ngase ngivele ngishaye i-t-shirt emhlophe plain, the old school, the OG, white tee, Cortez, bese siba on. Ongaba nebhadi lokuthi akazi ukuthi uba Ayanda Makukule. Ngisacela uzethule kuyena razo lami. Uzethule nje kuyena onebhadi lokuthi akakwazi umtshele uba.
Bro, I always say when you introduce ukuthi I say Clement, Pinetown district, Durban kanjani. Igama lami ngo-Ayanda Makukule first yabo. Clement nje behlezi ngisho njalo I always say I'm a fan of hip hop. Yeah.
You know, you always say you're a fan of hip hop, but for me you're like the big brother hip hop never had. And I thought, we were gonna get to dropping jewels later on into the conversation. Young artists out there, listen to how Ayanda introduced himself. He said, whenever I introduce myself, I always say Clement. Before he tells you who he is, he tells you where he is, where he's from. Because everything he does it for his hood. And then from his hood, he does it for his town. Then for his town, he does it for his city. So take Clement, what is Pine Town, what is Durban.
Sure.
Ngabe ngiyaphazama.
Awuphazami bhuti.
Ngaphambi kokuthi uzisho wena. Very selfless. A lot of people don't understand how much goes into ama event. And I don't know how much. We're not gonna get into it, but when I got to a moment of truth, and Koku 10 rand, ngibuka abantu aba 1,000 phakathi. Bese uyabala. Okay, mhlawumbe 10,000 lo. Ngiyazi khona abapotshile, ngiyazi khona abakufonile bacela bangena mahala inqaba, ngiyazi khona ama-artist abafike nabantu babo. So ake sithi mhlawumbe 8,000. Ayikho mina i-sound system engingayiharisha ebingacaterishela i-venue engakaya obungayiharisha for less than 15 grand. So already I never saw someone who was making money, but I saw someone who was making an impact. Ngafisa ukusondela kuwe, ngafisa ukuba uwe. But one thing I've realized in Hamba gaming is even though you were making sacrifices then, mina bengwabona lawo ma sacrifice. But for you to get to a point where mina ngizwa ngawe kuqala, you become an enigma. You become someone who is spoken about as, I would call you the original influencer, which OF doesn't sound good, or OI. But the original influencer, you held such a great influence. Sathi masenza ingoma, umuntu enza ingoma ethi yabo le, mase ngiyiperforma ku moment of truth. Yabo. Same way we looked at iPad Center and Life Check, same way we looked at Blazing Fridays. But those were more frequent. In moment of truth, I found a less cut. And it was, simply put, the moment of truth. When was your moment of truth when you realized, this is what I want to do? And angifuna ukwenza just ukukhuphula mina phela, ngifuna ukwenza ukukhuphula indawo yangakithi. Hello?
Sure.
Yeah, when was your moment of truth?
I would say, but after high school, 2001,
Mhm.
2001, khona i-OG yami mfethu yabo uPapi uMpungose. Mfethu wavele wasibiza siyoperform ePinetown Girls, bro wami yabo.
Yes, yes.
So,
Impetho
mofike
cream.
mofike ePinetown Girls nale hip hop stuff, bavele abantu bayincane yabo.
Mm.
I mean, like say, le mpahla le vele labantu bayincane manje from
2001.
lapho. It's 2001, yeah,
Mm.
2001, because there was an arc, sakala ngo-2000 ukuya khona.
Wow.
Yabo, so ngo-2000 ifirst afika sabizwa ngo-2001 because 2001 it was angazi ngachaza kanjani wawuhlukile, so ngaze ngeke umuntu fanele lento ayenze ngeke because at that time ngangidlala basketball mina ngarap yabo.
Mm.
Yeah, angidlalela i-basketball, so from that time wabona sekuyazini impahla ngeyinamathekeni and amajita phethu uma ubukisise kahle abakhambi bethu bekhona amathekeni yabo imoment
Yeah.
imnandi yabo.
Yeah.
So from there ngaba naleyo dosi ukuthi hayi mengenza le mpahla kufanele ibe kanje, and then like muthi uyakhumbula mhlawumbe ngo-2002 ikhona la khona ama-rap amaningi alocal ayisedumile yabo.
Yes, edume kodwa
Yeah.
endaweni eqala ukuduma
Eh,
endaweni.
yabo.
Mina
Like,
ngikukhumbulile konke lokho angiyazi leyo scene. So you talking about a foundation I never even saw.
oh, sorry, bro.
No, that's
So,
great because ngiyafunda.
sure. So from lapho, but like ukuthi abantu ngifuna bezwe kahle ukuthi amanye amajita from amanye amalokishi they were doing nabo izinto yabo.
Yes, sir.
yobuchazile la ukuthi kwakhona o-Blazing Friday night. At that time now amajita ayenza izinto yabo lona.
Mm.
But njengoba ngisho kuwena ukuthi from lapho ngabona lapho ukuthi okay mina ngizohluka ngokuthi ngiyenze ibe kanje, then ama-rap azofika azokwazi ukuba nama-fans yabo.
Mm.
Yeah, lapho.
So it seems like ngaleso sikhathi kwakunamaphakethe amancane like khona babezenzela into yabo kwamasho, khona abazenzela into yabo emlazi, khona abazenzela into yabo endaweni ewukuthi, khona abazenzela into yabo endaweni ewukuthi.
Sure.
Wasuqala nini wena i-event yakho yokuqala? Kwakuyini, yayikuphi, wayenza ngani?
Okay. Yabo nje into engayibona i-event it was 2001. Sase high school namajita ami uRai noManqoba nabanye amajita I can't remember them. So lapho sa-hijack ihall ngebreak yabo yokuthi khona into ezokwenzeka sekhohliwe uba so we went there quarter-past 11. So we went there namajita afika kugcwele vele kwakuyindawo wonke umuntu mayethengile wayedla khona yabo. So we went there safika kumnandi kugcwele bethi phela sirap, then sarapha-ke then like sarapha yabo sasibheda nje. Ngikhumbula nami ngathatha impahla ka-50 cent how to rob ngayiphendula ngadisa othisha yabo.
Nami nje. It reminds me of nami nje.
Yabona-ke. So yeah, 2001. So after lokho-ke we had kwakhulunywa ngayo lento niyayenza, you know. So I'll say that's where it was. But uzwe kahle yayingekho i-sound and it was full. So it probably lasted about 30 minutes yabo.
Wow. No
Yeah,
sound.
but iyona moment-ke mina leyo as u-Ayanda ukuthi esho shows go rock busy yabo amajita adala like Lakhuza, Onsika, Imbongi.
Hey.
We're doing a movement now, but so now me is I was like, this is what I want.
Yeah.
Then when it started to make sense in 2003.
Right.
You know, extension like
so the whole 2 years later. It's 2 years. It's 2 or 3 years later.
Yeah, this say one because 2002, which we story city and I can't show it's a hijack beauty pageant. So I'm going to start the story. Yeah.
I got forced.
Like but somebody like which one yabo elokishini we couldn't move as amajita, but babesinikeza uthando, but ukuperforma komisi kwakuhard yabo.
Yeah.
So we had any group like them okuthiwa ama-snap yabo. Ilida yabo ngangifunda naye eclassini, yangi-invite ngabiza amajita usa okuRai nomjita ekuthiwa uSiya. We had then we performed komisi ngo-2002, 3 yabo.
Yes. So what you mean when you say naye hijacker, you don't mean like nanicuthe ngaphandle what must I perform ngene stage don't say mic. No, you were not part of the program. I-program yenziwe nangabalwa, but then you made sure ukuthi you pushed and forced your way baze bathi ayi labafana ngesize sibazibe asibafaki.
That's all right. Yeah, but
akho ndluzula, akho disrespect.
Ama-snap before I perform azokungenani.
Nazo.
Yeah, so lezo zinto lezo izona-ke ezakwazi ukushape u-Ayanda ukuthi fanele mengenza i-show ngenze show ukuthi kufika abantu abazolalela.
Yebo.
Abantu abazoba ama-fans kule because le nto intsha-ke.
Yes, very new.
So yeah, so leyo nto ngo-2003 nje it makes sense. Nase ngiyaqala ngenza i-show ezoba nama-rapper, mina ngizohamba ngolanda abantu. So using i-basketball ngangidume nge-basketball thatha lowo bantu-ke laba bengenzela lokho trusted me bafika ngo-2003.
Yes sir.
Then that's where ngasekhaya became like it's okay ingasekhaya.
I-hip hop ngasekhaya.
That's it. But yaqala yaba namagama amaningi ngo-2003 because ngo-2003 we used to do 3 shows a year yabo like Clermont.
Wow. Just
now ngo-2004 we did a new show actually any given Sunday for hip hop kanjalo where we had a screen edlalo 8 Mile Up in Smoke like amavidiyo nje lo just ukutshengisa amajita ukuthi hayi le nto kanje yi-choose kanjalo ngo-2004 yeah.
So hip hop ngasekhaya ke was born by then.
Yeah.
So namhlanje hip hop ngasekhaya isasekhona. I remember I had such a great time ngaperforma kwi-hip hop ngasekhaya. Kwakuyinini konje lazo? Was it
2017?
17.
Yep. Waphindwa wabuya futhi.
Oh man, the love was so much. Exactly. That's how much the love was. Ngathi into yakuthanga. Ngathi it was very impactful. And wayenza ngangize eClermont, eKaslak.
Sure.
Why is it so important when Ayanda? Because what I'm hearing right now, and kusenezinto ezinkulu owazenza ezizayo ebese ngizazi nami, but ungitshela ngezinto engingazazi, and izinto engingazazi mina, they sound like iwona ama-cornerstone, iwona ama-pylon, igxobe ezangena phansi kwasekukhanda i-foundation kuzo, njengoba i-hip hop ngasekhaya isasekhona 20 years later. Yini yakwenza wabona wena wakhetha ukuthi yazini ake ngigxile kwiClermont ngaphambi ukuthi ngiphumele ngaphandle?
Yabo so you had to see ekuqaleni from 2003 all the way to 2006. Le minyaka leyo wonke ama-shows ayenziwe eClermont. Now the reason why like Clermont ngangi-comfortable ukuthi ngikwazi ukuhosta ama-shows and the sense ukuthi wena kwakulula la abantu bala eClermont abazange bawacwaye lento ukuthi ba-manisi abafuna ukubawathuka yayibona. So ngangiphuma ngiye kuma-shows la abakhona etown mhlawumbe ngiyohlala ne-LUS oRuma i-US ngithi bafethu yazi mase nize nasedladleni nizobona bafethu siphila kanjani bafethu yayibona lona.
So you did the groundwork, you would hit the streets uhambe.
Yeah, but like amajita like tasazana for more ballistic mebenza lamapati ama-terminals amajita amaningi enza ama-terminals we used to go then chill and make contact nabo batshela ukuthi bese umujita umenga ngiyahwaya sure ngangiwathetha amajita like hey ngifike eClermont kodwa ngigeza yayibona.
Yeah, I remember. ukuphazamisa. One of my favorite things about Ayanda was he would always say on my church, Ayanda Makukule fundisa ama-MCs ukugeza. Indoda izwane namanzi, because back then it was all about being rough and dirty and being, hard and streets. But you are one of the most street guys I know. But angaze ngelilodwa ilanga ngikubone unodaka etekini, ngikubone unesici ezimpahleni zakho. And that's whether you were wearing ijuju or whether you're wearing a DC or whether you're wearing tengayazi. That has always been a part of you. So vele wawubakhwayela ngalokho amajida.
Sure, because ubukhumbula ukuthi bengarap mina. So mina ngangibatshela ukuthi into engizoyenza ngilanda abantu. Wena rap uzuthiwe. But manje amajida, okay, ngangirespecta i-art yonke into. Ngithi amajida ntsoe, but mozwa kolayini bayathanda ukuthandwa abantu. Into yabo bayathanda ukuthi ithathwa abantu. So I was like, okay, sure, do this then. Uzobona.
Babelalela kodwa.
Yabo.
Babelalela kodwa.
Wathatha isikhathi yona yabo.
Ngoba ngiyasazi asifuni ukutshelwa.
Hey, wathatha isikhathi, but abanye they saw it because by the time ufika ko-Moment of Truth wawubona nawe ukuthi kuphela. Yazi ukuthi kahle kahle abantu abathandekayo la ilamajita lawo hayi kufanele ugqoke exactly what they wearing, but like just nje tied up yabo phela. So that was the movement umuntu ayipusha.
So that's when you started influencing the culture.
Yeah, it's good, like let's just put it like that.
Now, Putwami, what you just mentioned is very important, and I'm focusing on the foundations that a young artist needs to have. Ukuze bekwazi ukuthi umuntu akhande icareer ezolasta, ezohlala, ingabi into ezoba fly by night. Yabona njengoba uthi ukuzithanda. For me, ngizwa ukhuluma ngokuzithanda i-appearance yakho, into ebalekile futhi ezinsizwa leyo. But even as a head, as a head, hip hop is all about confidence, but at the same time, ngendlela ozithanda ngayo, you dedicated so much time ekuphakamiseni in-neighborhood yakho, iClermont.
Yeah.
To this day, kwethu saseClermont besikhuluma ngezinto mhlawumbe engikwazi ukuzisho la on air, but into engiyaziyo ngawo ukuthi ikasi lakho uyalithanda. Ikasi lakho uyalithanda mfowethu. And for me, that's a big part of ukuzithanda wena. Because when I hear Clermont and I think of a person, ngicabanga wena. When I hear Ayanda Makukule and I think of a place in Clermont, you made sure. Whereas awuthi ngivume nje. Ngiyazama mina ukwazisa abantu ukuthi ngasisteng. But I felt so hopeless kwanyathikazi. Angaze ngenze anything njengalokho nokwenzile. And bengibuye ngitshela ukuthi amandla anginawo. As a result, kunabantu abangibiza kwamashu. Kunabantu abangibiza Soweto, abanye bathi ngasempumalanga. Abanye bathi ngisejele njengamanje. Abanye bathi ngaseGoli, ngihlala khona eGoli. But it's angiblame umuntu ngoba imini engawenzanga umsebenzi owanele ukuphakamisa indawo yangakithi iphakame kanye negama lami. What is it that you think South Africa can learn, or young artists can learn just from history sakho, so realize ukuthi ngiyayithanda lento, one, and knowing your lane as well, because maske says hip hop sathanda hip hop sicabanga ukuthi kumele sirap. But there are so many things ezenzekayo eceleni, there are so many people abadingekayo. Without Ayanda Makukule enze hip hop ngasekhaya, maningi ama-MCs angaba awaziwa namhlanje. Without Ayanda Makukule enze Moment of Truth, maningi ama-MCs angaba awaziwa namhlanje. On Instagram usandile sick uthi bring him back uMakukule, bese kuthi ngapha nansi into engiyithandayo ke mina bhuti, nansi into engiyithandayo. Young artists, take note. Uzakwe right now is on Facebook. He's watching. Utini, uchi true. Ayanda is a true pioneer and a living legend. Budi. You're the guy. You're the guy. You're the guy. Ngishayela ihlombe njengamanje liselincane isasefuna standing ovation manje ngasukuma bazobona ukuthi ngimfisha kangakanani. Now let me tell you. So when do we now move to a moment of truth? What is the transition? Because a moment of truth, namhlanje mina isangisabisa. Like ngiyakhohlise nginogwani nani kune internet nana ngiyasaba ukuplana i-event engange-moment of truth mina. Mhlampe ukuzeya, mhlampe self doubt but yini wena yakwenza uthi uma ngabe yize ngingarephi yize iClermont kuyindawo encane edolobheni elithile in a bigger country, in a bigger province, ngizokwenza mina lento ekuthiwa moment of truth. And lelo gama is so important because it was not just a moment of truth as in the name of the event, but it was also a moment of truth for iClermont. Ukuthi iClermont sekumele ivezeke manje ukuthi iyasupporta yini abakubo. It was the moment of truth for iTheku. Ukuthi iTheku sekumele livezeke manje ukuthi hayibo, should we be taken seriously in SA hip hop? It was the moment of truth for the game in South Africa. Ukuthi, is the culture growing enough for us to have small sections that look like a big scene on their own, but also it was the moment of truth for you? Ukuthi yonke leminyaka le obuyisebenza obusebenzelana. Mind you, ngaleso sikhathi angakwazi. Sekuyikhani ngizwa ngawe after the first moment of truth. But what is it that led you to do the first one?
Okay, bro, nje like ngizokuchazela. Yabo ngo-2000 ngizwa kahle? Ngo-2006
yebo
ePinetown Girls my cousins babe ne-assignment ukuthi bazokwenza i-show bafundre, so wangikhweba sayihlanganisa sayenza. So lapho ngabona abantu bedansa because basekuphumela ama-movie o-Crump, yabo?
Lapho sasiphethe nge-Crump eThekwini.
Azo, ngidlalele ngizokuyizwa. So ngase ngibona leyo movement lapho. And two, ngangiqala ukubona abantu abayi-1,000 eshowini because mase bengitshela cousin bami, they made so much money azi kanjani because bakhokhela i-sound on the day, yabo. So ngangiqala ukubona izinto zoku-two, then I met uNana Thusi wangitshela ukuthi ngine-movement. Inkinga ukuthi abanaso stage.
Oh.
Yeah, 2006. Then 2007, yes, 2007 ngenza i-show ekuthiwa Hip Hop from the Heart ePavilion. Yena abantu aba 4,000 yeah, sithi 4,000 namhlanje yeah.
Wenza i-show wena
ePavilion ekuthiwa ePavilion ekuthiwa Hip Hop from the Heart. ePavilion kwakune-skate park. If nje ubuze nje amajita nje nosisi bazokutshela. ePavilion it used to be a skate park underground floor. Manje yeah, 2007.
Wow.
So leyo show leyo khona lo ulo futhi umthembu uwayibeka sithi yabo nje ubukhuluma ngokuba ready for all of that. So ngo-2007 mina vele asengibona ukuthi hayi seziyasha manje because ilo uNana help me ngokuhlanganisa amajita asePinetown ayizokrampa against amajita aseDurban nawo ayihlanganisa, yabo leyo. So it was that. Then ke nama-rapper akathola ne-opportunity ukuthi a-showcase to all the public yayila.
Yebo.
Then ngidlalela i-moment of truth iphuma ngokuthi mina ngangithi ngeke ngisaphinde ngenze ngisho. So kwase kuthiwa le mpahla engenza iyi-fluke, yayibona leyo.
Oh wow. Okay.
Ngase mina ngiyitshela ukuthi mfethu ya mfethu singisa ngisazi. Ngayitshela ukuthi njengoba ngibizwa nge-fluke futhi mhlambe serious. So no true story mfethu. So ngamjida wami uPopo noManqoba, rest in peace mwana wami uPopo. Ngakubona bangichazela bathi hayi Jino. Bachaza ukuthi yabo igama nje uphinde nje mina ngempela athi okay bro ngizoyenza-ke enye kanjalo. So i-moment of truth yokuqala igama laqhama on the spot ukuthi i-moment of truth like i-headline like nebhala ukuthi almost everybody deserve an audience. Mase nje uyi-check first, it was the first poster, i-poster yakhona yayinomjita excuse me, owayelele embhedeni ehage i-toilet yabo kube sengathi uzophalaza phakathi or something. In the moment of truth, almost everybody deserves an audience.
Almost everybody except lo mchita lo ohage i-toilet yena yedwa asimyeke aphalaza
No, no, the thing was almost everybody, because Nama was unique. I would do anything. That poster was representing that. Would say, I'm unique.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you went out.
So taking a poster, I far away my parents could see it, and they start telling me, which if let them I need to brand it.
Oh damn! 2007.
2000, which was 2008.
Now your parents are starting to take notice and support.
My guy.
After 7 years, because Pelelenda sit don't say from 2001. You are ukubala abazali.
But some of us, they've been edited for years, but that the Bible, but Baba, which don't we are saying,
you know, but Yabasabi sab abazali bagiti, especially in the black community. Yabatusa because and so it's understandable, manga bebenga support eqaleni.
But I lapho umdala ngiphabona mina bese angifuni ukukama manga bese lento for me basketball iloku islinga I understand guys. They were still making sure we not ball.
Thank you.
So basically, like young Mama in 2008, that was important because it helped me. Why she poster, that was poster Nami, what grand. That's the show in moment of truth of Karang 2008, where everybody, shout out to Onkama Campers like KZN, because without them, now I'm a rapper like Durban. Now we figure, without them, the Sangan and having, but I attract everybody because I'm a MOT. I attract everybody, like everybody. One of it, I'm to pinda in a band.
Yeah. You see,
so that combination, Yama campers and MCs helped that. I'm going to tell how it helped the movement.
It really did.
It shaped it, bro.
Now, the first moment of truth, is it Pine Town or was it somewhere else?
No, it's a Pine Town Civic Center. The name came here. It's a Pine Town
Civic one I came to.
Yeah, with 2008.
Sure. Uzawe is watching right now. He's in the chat.
Sure.
First time in Klangana no Zawe. Because we say Civic Center with Moment of Truth.
Sure.
So I that day with kumele sisebenze. Ngaleso sikhathi ngase nguzwile music kaZawe udlala ku Blazing Fridays.
Sure.
I was a super fan. And then I meet him and it turns out now Tandi just that.
Sure.
So already what you did touched me. Ngaleyo ndlela singakhulumi ke nangalokho okunye okwenza phakathi which elevated things to a much higher level. Ayanda, you are an important piece kweyami foundation. You are an important piece kweyami foundation. And if there's one thing I remember ukuthi at some point you were sponsored by DC. But I don't ever remember seeing banner ye DC yabo or in and for me I feel like ama event akho okuqala usawenza angazi whether there's ever been a time. By the way, ngaqala ukuthenga iDC after a moment of truth. Strong God, ngifunga uThixo nezingane zami iphile emhlabeni DC, if you are listening and you are watching, I had 2 pairs of DC shoes. I only bought them because of Ayanda Makukule. I had a DC sweater that I lost at Life Check in Bed Center. I bought it because of Ayanda Makukule. And my 3rd pair of DCs were given to me by Ayanda Makukule at Hip Hop Ngasekhaya. DJ Younger's first pair of DC shoes were given to by Ayanda with Hip Hop Ngasekhaya. So you are really the original influencer, at least for me. Nangu usandile sick on Twitch uthi DC sayazi ngo-Ayanda uthi uKasim Mtolo, one of the greatest in the game. Awez Makukule, the OG, kusho the only 22K. Yo baningi bayakhuluma ngapha ku-Instagram kanje bathini bayakhala ukuthi abakuzwa. Thanks Buddha yami. Let me go there now. They're going to YouTube bafuna ukuzwa cause beza mina kuphela. MarazA bro, hold on. Ageko ongazi what Aya has done for KZN hip hop. We have to give him his flowers when he can still smell them. Usandile sick lana ku Instagram. Uthando mfowethu abantu abalivezayo is overwhelming. Baya kuhlonipha, and we never get to see this. People don't do this. That's why namhlanje ungifonelile and you said njalo makuqala unyaka kujala uba yimina ukufonelayo ngithi you know engathi izinto zingahamba kahle.
Sure.
It's really because of that, Puti. You inspired something in me that lives on to this day. Because at that time, I was a hip hop head, right? But ngangazi ukuthi uba hip hop head kuyini. Ngangazi ukuthi hip hop is culture. Ngangazi ukuthi hip hop is more than just rapping. Ngangingazi ukuthi hip hop is more than just beatboxing. Ngathi mangifika ku moment of truth, I witnessed all of those elements of hip hop, and it's because of you. I can't lie. It's because of you. Ubani mfethu wayesupport ama event akho kuqala before your moment of truth? Who was giving you imali yokwenza ama event?
Isifanele mfethu uba wongifundisa ukukhanda mfethu ngisana 11 or 12 mfethu. So isho yokuqala nje mfethu umuntu wayenza ngokuthi asevise ilo itax ama disc break yonke into othole leyo mali leyo ayishephule kabili ubhuki holi asuke kanjalo kule enye ayiphante around akho then ngokukhula umuntu othola umsebenzi phando ganda kaformat. So umuntu beyifanda yena nganyama.
Nansi inkinga yami ke Razi, the reason why I'm talking about the foundation and why it's so important. I-foundation yakho, I said before you came on the show, I was telling abantu la ukuthi if you want to last long, you need to break new ground. And when you break new ground, you build a strong foundation lapho. Kwakhona othi, but breaking new ground is hard. Ngathi yebo. Kufanele kube nzima. Ukuba bekulula. Ngaba isekho i-new ground yokubreaka, ngabe wonke umuntu ubreakile.
Wait, to be clear, yabo nje angikazi because by the time when the moment of truth isi out nje sekwazi ukuyimashela yabo, then angifuni ukukhosa lo DJ Lab ufethu umtutu. Angifuni ukukhosa nje lo bhaka lo. Yena umuntu wayenze yaba smooth sailing lento mfethu yabo. Yes,
but here's what's important. Shout out to DJ Lab. Big shout out to DJ Lab. Na mina ngwamini ngisupportana namhlanje. However, u-DJ Lab wadonswa yinto ayeyibona usuyenzile nginamanga.
Yeah, wangixhuma mfethu because naye wayenze yakhe movement naye on the side. Wangixhuma nje mfethu khona inkosi yithi MOT, I think ilesibili sibuya nje like wangitshela nje straight nah nigga, he got ways of making this thing look big kanjalo. Mina all I need to do is ngenze show kanje, then he would do the paper and all the stuff, you understand? And he did that, bro. He did that, mfethu.
Nazok. But ilento engishoyo to young people these days ukuthi listen, akukho muntu who is going to invest in something that you are not willing to invest in yourself. Ngaphambi kokuthi mina ngiphose esikhwameni sakho, ngicela ukubona wena ujuluka uthatha izithukuthuku zakho uyifake kuqala.
Sure.
And wahamba bethu wawuthola umsebenzi wasebenza, you knew what your passion was. But you knew other ways of making money. So you used those ways and you went and you made money. And that money was not to upole uyidlube mnandi in. It was for you to invest in yourself and your passion. Yaze yaphuma a moment of truth. Kwethu ukuba sibaningi ngabe sikushayela ilizwe. Standing ovation. You're an inspiration.
Yeah, I always appreciate ngokwenza my shows. So Yeah, because after I remember Tutukala, then we go to 2009, eh? 2009 kwafika ama-Omas.
Whoa, man,
2000 eh?
so you say good. I want to set this up. This is very important. Ayanda Makukule starts doing his thing from the year 2000. 2001, he hijacks a school hall during break time. They perform Shine Gomaga 50 Cent. He switches it around.
Sure.
He saw Tisha. The students love that. Obviously, it's going wild. Eventually, they get called by performing Pinetown Girls. They get to Pinetown Girls. Amajita selokishini. Isingisi sayifatalela. Kodwa amantombazana ashayiphaya agcwale. Umuntu abonza hayibo. This thing is moving. Bese kuyaqhubeka kuyokwenziwa i-hip hop ngasekhaya, smalanyana sessions going here and there and there. Akhuphula iClermont anyuse igama lakhe eClermont, aziwe eClermont bese yabona ukuthi umuntu sekumele aphume. Usisi wakho or your cousin athi there's a project, they want to raise money, and then you go and do a show at the skate park at Pava.
No, a Pinetown Girls.
A Pinetown Girls, that's where the
2006. Pinetown Girls, 2006. Then Pavilion was just to Ayanda. I went there. RIP Insane. We went to Insane. I moving down. Yeah.
Then, emva kwalokho baqhubeka bamdoubt. Uthomba someone now who's already put in half a decade of work. Baqhubeka bamdoubt. Wasethi bambiza ngefluke bathi lento yenzile is a once off ngeke iphinde yenzeke. Akekho omunye umuntu okholela kuye njengamanje kukhuluma abantu abangakaze benze lutho. People have never done anything by themselves are saying you can't repeat it, right? So he decides it's time for the moment of truth. The first moment of truth ngangikhona, it's a big success. It springboards amagama amaningi. I will never forget a performance ga Abdus.
Yeah.
I will never forget the performance ga Abdus at the moment of truth. I've never seen a crowd rap along Ganjia. The kids these days talk about a mosh pit. Ukube uAbdus wagxuma kulesa stage babeyomnqaka.
One way.
Babeyomnqaka. Wayengakaphindele futhi stage ngoba babeyohamba naye.
One way,
that's why I first saw superstars. That is a legend, but kuma Olympics, umuntu othola silver, nothola bronze, nothola gold. Bama ngokushiyana. Lothola gold, the legend, uma phezulu kunabo bonke. In order to do that, udinga platform.
Sure.
Ukuba bami phansi bobathathu ngabe bayafana because abantu abakude abayiboni le medal encane sentanyeni, but bayakwazi ukubona ukuthi lo umi ngenhla umi ngaphezulu. The platform has elevated them to that status. I-platform yakho but Ayanda, i-moment of truth is the reason why people like Abdus can be called legends. People like Abdus were called legends. They became legendary because of the platform you built. So njalo mangabe kubali ukuthi uAbdus uyi-legend, uZaku uyi-legend, Sean G uyi-legend, MarazA uyi-legend, hopefully I qualify. Anyone you count as a legend, okwazi ukuthi sonke siyilutho ngaphandle kwe-platform. And so the people who made the platform should be included now. When you had done a moment of truth yokuqala, you had proved that you were not a fluke. Where's Uleki? DC was on board. I know DC was dressing you. I know Juju was dressing you, a local brand. I remember another local petrol or milk. Yes, another local brand. This is 2008, by the way. Long before you guys enjoy the see Ama Keep, long before you see petrol or milk, long before you see Run DPN, all those brands were already being there because Ayanda Makukule helped to foster a strong community.
Temperature.
Oh, damn.
Temperature was doing his thing first.
Was he already?
He was doing his thing first. He was doing his thing. He had t-shirts on. He had something. I remember, bro.
Are you kidding? Jacket temp. My God, bro. My two favorite designers in South Africa, Temperature, Tripod.
Sure. Tripod. utrayibhani nayisuka kude nobhuta fentana i-basketball so nabo nje story eside.
So mina yabo futhi temperature mina ngimbona fashion week runway. I could have never thought ukuthi temperature had something to do with my hip hop sessions.
Temperature ukuthi manje yabo iClermont ineWhitebank ine-New Germany ine-Pine Town yabo. Yeah. Then kube uPaso wezinyana ne-reserve uyayibona so ne-Whitebank ke no-Peaceful Groove so lo bantu abalapho nje la siyazana nabo yabo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's a beautiful thing, Putwami. So now, from building all these platforms, Wakanda, my platform, Govela, my legend, you proved your point in moment of truth, and then you go on moment of truth, yes, Billy. That's when you, Ngamakamako, that's when you started smooth sailing. So zonke lezi ikhathi bekunzima but you are pushing and moving through. Ungagxile ebunzimeni bakhona, ubuke success, ubuke lapho enga-improve khona, bese you improve for the next one. Shy moment of truth yokuqala, silence the haters. By fluke. Shy moment of truth yesibili, ama-legends akhuphuka even more. Durban now has a proper hip-hop scene. Angisho ukuthi wena wedwa owenza ukuthi Durban ibe ne-proper hip-hop scene, but you have a big part to play. Now, is this smooth sailing, Landon? Moment of truth could be making you a lot of money. Ingabe uyihlalele iyezenzekela njenge Back to the City, ubungayiphusha le yanto for a good 5, 6, 7 years, I guarantee it.
Sure.
Bengaba yinto njengoba kuye kusuka abantu eThekwini beze eGoli beye for Back to the City. There was abantu ababengitshela ukuthi bayehla behlela moment of truth yesibili.
Yeah, but hey, khona abantu khona bese Cape Town. Yo, kumula phethe yangi, yeah, khona bese Cape Town. Lokho kwangishock. Ngangithoma ngayo elokushini lokho. Hey.
Yeah. It's not even ukuthoma, you know. I know what you mean. And Choma, all you want, you've earned it. But at the same time, Choma Loko is inspiring to intwana encane yase Clermont, umakhelwane wakho, ezoqhuma isibhamu, ezoqhuma ummese, ebona abantu beqomo matric, abantu behleli namatric bengenamsebenzi. Lithi lentwana, if Ayanda Makukule can do something ekwazi ukubiza abantu baseKapa beze endaweni yangakithi, then I can conquer the world. That is, and Ayanda Makukule wakwenza lokho ngokuba himself and no one else. Yes. You have always been original. And then, after doing all of this to contribute to making original legends, or Abdus, or Zagwe, now original ngendlela yakho, or Niche Fam, Insane, or Black Moss, or Cyamatics, or so many AK, dance crews, or beatboxes, or ballistic, or drum kits, or Pasgenics, so many.
That thing now last 2 weeks back.
Salutas. What now? This original innovator, my original guider, my original groundbreaker, who has created legends, before you get your flowers, which you already deserved by that time, what decided to give the flowers to Amanya Machit, and you started something called the Original Material Awards, the first hip-hop awards in South Africa. The first hip-hop awards in South Africa. Big shout out to Amasaha. Big shout out to Slick's Verse of the Year. Big shout out to all the other categories and all the big major awards. But the first award show dedicated to hip-hop was the OMA's Original Material Awards. Ayanda, dog, how? Take me through it. How?
About 2008, 9, like I'm like motivation. I'm a rapper. like ngangayiboni but sengathi like ukuthi khona la iyakhona is Ayanda yabo. We
Yes,
had
sir.
rappers that are dope, that are doing great, but we didn't have enough sponsors or izinto ezingawayisa phambili.
No, we didn't.
May I say is Ayanda yabo.
Mm.
So
Ngisho nohulumeni
so
wawungasupport ngiyaxolisa ukunqamula ulimi. Nohulumeni wawungayingeni indaba yethu. Bekuthiwa nje singamaniga phele kanjalo. I never saw, you have to understand, and I never, I never. Yabona, the only thing I was thinking about is, okay, maybe i-moment of truth manje sizosuka ehholo iye stadium esincane.
sure.
And then after a few years, mhlawumbe singathatha istadium esithe ukuba sikhudlwana. And then maybe
Sure.
5 years later, we can have a full-scale concert.
Sure.
Ngangingacabangi nokucabanga ama-awards because amajita were already doing incredible work, especially you. But ngangingacabangi nokuwacabanga ama-awards. Why though?
Yeah.
Why
So
did you think
yeah,
that?
so umsebenzi wawumningi nawumnandi because they were doing so much yabo. So le ekuphethe ka government wathi ngikhatsha mfethu like I think in 2009 njengoba ngisho they started pouring money because ngiyakhumbula khona abawina mfethu like ama-dancers MCs like they started pouring in money mfethu. So njengoba sasilandela-ke they asked us ukuthi what can they help, so they help yabo leyo.
Okay.
They help. Was awards like they helped. DC helped as well. Like they art and culture helped and I might be maybe forgetting Amayama Lokuza, but a lot of people helped in 2009. I'm full of that. So
wow.
Me at least they gotta have something that I might take. That's what she would say. I deserve this. Like I said, I had to live, had like other things. It's okay. The voting is Hambaganje, free of charge. Like because it was open. If you go back, it was open for you to see.
Yeah.
You would see. It was open. I'm a rapper, like it was open. So like that. So I believe the good MCs gas for them to actually take us to somewhere else. I don't know because now I couldn't do. I wasn't a rapper. Like I felt to if they get this, they can actually see maybe we conquered the KZN now. Let's go work somewhere else for 2009. You understand? You conquered the KZN. So go to another place and make this. It was that type of thing because. I want take 5 no lepo sasijwayele ungidakaza kanje asithi laba personal bajabula ukuthi umuntu uphume estage athola take 5 about 10 dope. So we needed to elevate leyo nto kubona ukuthi iyawetha that can be ama-omas we're trying to ayi leyo nto ama-omas machit yabo nje ubone ne-dress code nje yayishintsha because we posta kwakubhaliwe ukuthi be clean and hygienic yabo leyo nto. Yeah, because the mindset needed to act the way Amajita is receiving Ama Award. I don't know if you understand. Because with Moment of Truth, it's different. It's better. You have a crowd that is booing you with Moment of Truth. But Omas, there's no crowd booing you. It's just people celebrating you. Because you work. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, and it's a ukuthi mawuhaza nje. Mawubheda. So
it's technique. So yeah, so that's how my almost came. Yeah, because 2009, 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, I opened was 2014.
6 years, 6 awards.
Yeah, shows, and all of them successful.
Of course they were.
All of them successful.
Wow.
But like the mission was to get the point across.
Ayanda, you more than got your point across.
Yeah, so that was the mission. So the mission was like, dang, bro. Like, yeah.
So this is an incredible thing for me, and you said something very important, Uti. You wanted to inspire local rappers to see that they can take this further. You had already done so much. abantu abaningi ikakhulukazi mfethu I'm not even gonna lie endlini emnyama within our own people umuntu ufuna ukuthi elokhu ekhuphukile nje nephezulu azabe isicebi mase ecebe kahle aphume eClermont ahambe ohlala emhlanga ney'ngane zakhe zikwitisa isingisi waya kwiti angaphinda nakane nendawo yangakubo bese kuba khona abantu abafana nawe who even when you have a chance to take yourself further you could have built a moment of truth from a Durban gig to a KZN gig to a South African festival. Easy. But you decided to go and create an even bigger platform, not only for artists to showcase what they can do and what they're capable of, but also for us to show those artists ukuthi they are capable of much more. Khona bezogqugquzeleka ukuphuma behambe beyosirepresenta everywhere else because like you said, they've conquered KZN with the help of people like you, but KZN is a small part of South Africa and you wanted the culture to grow. Wait.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah, that's the story. That's the story. So that story there was like the plan. I'm not scared of it. Like that was the point. Then again, I think to keep on the movement going and with hip hop, it is a culture and it's positive.
And too many people don't pass on the torch. Too many people don't pass it on. Like through a moment of truth, you passed it on so many times. You passed it on.
In moment of truth all over bakutshela before nje ngikhulume ngenzeni ngithini kubona ngangena nepolice engigcwele amateku ingubo yini ngidijele wonke umuntu ophethe pressure beyonke into ukuze ubone ngempela ukuthi if you guys are supporting this, if you rap are looking carefully ukuthi kwenzakalani, you can be more than what you think of and keep watshela ama rap yo do this, my brother. So yeah. Muto ongayinqanga ithotho ongayinqanga amateko ongayinqanga iskip ongayinqanga ibackpack ayingeke phela hayi kusungangizonda nje ngoba kuyenzeka
yeah phela inhlanhla yabanye but at least ubonile mina I'm someone who believes ukuthi inhlanhla mayiseduze kwami malinqawe seduze kwami should nami I'm next, you know. It may not be today but someday soon I'm going to be next. You've inspired so many people. You passed on the torch, and ngiyakutshela bethu indlela engihlonipha ngayo njengamanje and to see ukuthi emva kwakho konke lokho wasuka waphindela hayi ukuthi waphindela, let me not use that word because it's important. Awukazi uhambe, you never left.
No
you never left
ngile OG engakazi likhuhle ibhench mina
nazo-ke. You never ever left Claremont. But when after the original material awards, sang perform kabili mina ku hip hop ngasekhaya, each time it was packed. And now you're doing it in an era where most young cats, most young rappers, they don't know what a cipher is. They don't know what a hip hop session is. Because yonke into siyenziwa ku internet. And ku internet umuntu uyedwa nefoni yakhe.
Yep.
And you are somehow keeping the culture alive. Yazi ama-hip hop sessions esengike ngawahamba angasekho njengamanje. Kuwo wonke the only one that remains i-hip hop ngasekhaya. Khuluma ngama-hip hop sessions engangiwathenda eThekwini, engangiwathenda eGoli. Blazing Fridays, Life Check, hip hop ngasekhaya, Splashy Fan, Splash Jam.
Sure.
Maningi, but hip hop ngasekhaya is the only one that survives. Why do you think hip hop ngasekhaya still survives? Nyazi COVID is still but hip hop ngasekhaya is still alive. Why is it still alive? And why are you trying to make sure you keep it alive?
Well, the reason why it's still alive is because when just in movement, it was a movement for the whole hood. So if you put any hood ngalesa sikhathi la, any hood that came, ababehlakaniphile, they took notes and start their own movement ngakubo, because we used to go Embo, Molweni, konke lezi ndawo, because people nabo Hammersdale, Gondengez, they have their own show. So so Leo culture, it moved. So ama hip hop wonke ngasekhaya wonke lawo.
Those are all the branches of your tree. What is isihlahla? And those are all the branches. Kwaphuma ama branch esihlahleni sakho.
Yeah, but like angifuna amajita angizwe kabi. Ama movement abo abayiqalela wona.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So thina sasiwa support.
Mina okay, asichazele kanje. Ekhaya kunesihlahla esatshalwa ubaba kaMkhulu.
Sure.
Ubaba kaMkhulu njengamanje akasinakekeli leso sihlahla ngoba akasekho. Sisinakekelwa yimina. Sesikhule sasisaba namanye amagatsha aya ngapha ngababona uma ngabaphuma lapha. Mangibabona labo mango labo ngithi hayi ngisebenzile omango bami. But angikhohlwa ukuthi uba wasitshala. Uma ingavuka ubaba mkhulu manje athi lesihlahla siyatshalwa yimi, akasho ukuthi lo mango ovele lapha owakhe. Usho ukuthi ngasitshala lesihlahla, mfana wami, well done for ukusiqhubeza usinakekele esikhule size sibe yilento esiyiyona kwasikwazi ukuthi silengele nangaphandle kwegceke kube khona nabanye abantu abathola umanga abangawutshalanga. That's what I mean when I say isihlahla sakho. I don't mean those are your events. I mean, you know, it's from your inspiration. And kubalulekile sikuvume lokho, but the biggest thing engithola kuwe Razo as we end this interview. Kukho konke wakwenza, the reason Ayanda Makukule still stands today, the reason Ayanda Makukule is for me the Larry Hoover of Claremont neTheku. Yazi mina, I'll tell you now, ngiyakuhlonipha, and at the same time I feel like amajita akusha. I feel like uyasatshwa.
Ungangifaki lelo pani we.
No, but ngicela ulizwe kahle ukuze kuthiwa uqala kokuhlakanipha ukumesaba uJehova.
Sure.
Lokho akuchaza ukuthi mawulele ebusuku uphupha ngoNkulunkulu it's a nightmare. No. Igama lesizulu elisho ukuhlonipha okwedlulele, ukwesaba. Because bengifuna ukusho ukuthi angaze ngizwe kuthiwa wakwakeqa sibani, angaze ngizwe kuthiwa wakwabasempini. In fact ngaye ngakubona uhlukanisa ifight kwi moment of truth. There was a bit of a squabble outside. Wathethisa amajita ahlukana nangempela. Mhlawumbe nawe usayikhumbula ngikhumbula lento because you've probably done it so many times. But engikushoyo ukuthi wena irespect yakho lokho quote unquote kwesatshwa athi inhlonipho nayo mfethu wayithola ngokuthi one wawuzihlonipha wena, two wawufundisa ama-MCs ukuthi ayihloniphe both in terms of appearance yabo ukuthi ama-MCs awageze, which is still hilarious to this day and still needed namhlanje, but also with showing them and awarding them for original quality material kama awards yakho. And diligently working hard. Awukaze nangelilodwa ilanga ukhangeze ulinde ukuthi into ize kuwe. Everything that came to you yayiza kuwe ngoba sikubona ukuthi uyahamba. You mentioned ukuthi uMasipala weza kunina wathi singasiza kanjani.
Sure.
You were always taking the first step. You were always working hard. You were always working with respect for not only yourself, respect for the hip-hop culture, and most importantly, respect for Claremont, your hood. And ngenxa yalokho, to this day, unenhlonipho yami bhuti. And you will always have it.
Nami mfethu uyazi nawe, kakhulu mfethu uyazi nawe ukuthi ngiquota zona zonke izinto engiyispeaker, onke lama-freestyle engiwashayo uyazi ngiyaquota, hayi ngoba ngiquota ngikumakethe, ngiquota cause after yonke lento umuntu ayenzile MarazA, umuntu went back and listened to all of your guys' music that you were doing at that time. Umuntu wayengakwazi kwalalela because he was busy, and then started writing, bro. That's why I'm releasing all these freestyles, because I just wanna end isikhathi sami kamnandi Glenn uze kuthiwa gratefully ubhawa kamnandi.
Kamnandi.
Drop a project stop i-project yami, sophela i-freestyle yabo ngishayela ngishaya ama-freestyle awu-9 wonke anama-video awu-9 so ngiyeza abantu and then kamnandi nje mfethu yeah.
But when you drop it, we'll have another one. Ngizocela interviewer and we'll premiere. We'll have an entire stream dedicated nje to ilokhu ngani project yakho. So dlala wonke lawo ma-video lawo, all those songs, and you'll take us through them. Ayanda Makukule, butwami, ngiyabonga not only for ukuba nathi namhlanje and dropping all of these jewels, but for also being one of abantu ababalekile, one of abantu abaphakamisa ipiki balimisa phezulu, bagqoma kukhonkolo, kwaze kwavuleka imisele nemgede yokuthi kukhandeke i-foundation ye-hip hop yaseThekwini ne-hip hop yase-South Africa yonkana. Wherever the culture is alive in Durban right now, ngiyazi ukuthi wena ngeke uze ukuclaim. Mina, kusho mina, unesandla. Noma abantu benga-attenda lapho bengakuboni lokho, but unesandla. Because everything is built on a solid foundation. Ngisho ukuthi uhlala number 22. Le number 22 ohlala kuyo phezulu, floor number 22. Ingawa manje mangabe i-foundation ingamile kahle. Ayanda, thank you for being the original groundbreaker. Siyakuthanda. We owe you so much, and I hope ukuthi I can make you even more proud before I buy out gracefully. Ubone ukuthi inhlamvu wayitshala zisaqhubeka ukuhluma to this day. We love you, Siyabonga.
Bethu nambonga bethu the whole movement iqhubeke ishe. Njengoba ibhizi ishunqa kumanje ayiqhubeke bethu ivuthele ingalingi icishe bethu movement. Everywhere bethu, everywhere.
Thank you, correct Moja Futman Lami. Have a good night. Ngiyabonga kakhulu. Thank you for taking the time. If you need to be told, I don't know what to tell you. If you need to be told, I don't know what to tell you. The gist of the story is this: a strong foundation will lead you to building the most beautiful structure you want, and you can dream as far upwards as you want, as long as your foundation is strong. And no one will ever help you build your foundation, ever. Foundation yako, you have to build it yourself. Indonga zokuqala, you have to lay them yourself. You might even need to build the first few rooms yourself. I was trying to perform at the first Original Material Awards. That's 2008. I was trying to perform. 2018, 10 years later, I was getting paid to perform. 5 years before the moment of truth, I started rapping, started trying to get a space to record. Next week, we're going to be talking about patience. And that's what I had. That's what I still have. And that's what still keeps me going. And too many of our young artists don't have it. But the basic principle, yakho konke lokhu, the basic fundamentals, foundation. And there is no better location for you to build your foundation than endaweni yangakini, because you will always be able to come home as a king. You will always be able to come home as a king. You can build a base. Uphume lapho uthi usuya phandle ube usunabantu abakulandelayo abakusupportayo abangakufela, whether about 5 noma by 5,000. It doesn't matter. It is a base. It is a foundation. And from there, you can build. You don't want to usuke lapho uye kwenye indawo. Don't go from there to another place and then get there and try to build your building. It's going to fall. Get your foundation right first. And you just heard the man, a man who built a strong foundation over a long period of time through blood, sweat, and tears. Started by building the foundation in his hood. Went regional, went provincial, went national. And to this day, in maintenance in his hood, where I shire. Ayanda Makukule is more than just a mentor. He's more than just an event organizer. He's more than just an MC. He's more than just an inspirer. He's more than just an original groundbreaker. Ayanda Makukule, uyi-representative ye-Claremont. Ngizwile mangithi, I feel like how much time sap. Uthe, hey, ungangifaki kuleyo. That's a man who knows what he wants his brand to be. Even though I wasn't talking about violence, I was talking about a high level of respect. But the mere idea for him to be associated with violence was like, no, not me. And anyone who knows who Ayanda Makukule knows. I've never seen him fight. I have never ever seen Ayanda Makukule fight. I have never heard that he fought. But agaloni kwala, if he was, he wouldn't have done the original material. He wouldn't have made the moment of truth. When they called him a fluke, he would have agreed. He's fearless. But he fights with his love for the culture, his love for the hood, his understanding of who he is, and he knows that his greatest weapon is his foundation. His foundation is exceptionally strong. That's it. The game. Every single Thursday, we'll get you guests who will absolutely inspire you. If you cannot be inspired by those guests, you cannot mean well. Big shout out to Ayanda Makukule. Shout out to A Moment of Truth. Hip Hop Ngasekhaya. The Original Material Awards. Budi. Wasichala isihlahla sakho. I, for one, am dedicated to make sure ukuthi siyaniselwa, siyakhula, siyasabalala, and it bears fruits that the entire culture can enjoy. Engathi uNkulunkulu engasigcinela wena, engathi uNkulunkulu engasivikelela wena, engathi uNkulunkulu engaliphakamisa igama lakho so that others may be inspired by the light that you bring, a light that you created from darkness. And you shook your hands together kwaze kwaqhasha inhlanzi usebenza ubambe ipanela service amateksi to make sure you get money for the next gig. Waze waqhoma umlilo wakho wavutha, and today your light shines bright. So, a lot of young up-and-comers might not know you, and they might not know that you have a hand in the industry that they are able to profit from. Those of us who do, will continue to give you your flowers while you are still alive. Jehovah kubeke, we still need to show you more. All of you guys who have contributed to the strength of the hip-hop culture in South Africa. And Ayanda Makukule, thank you for joining me today. Now we're going to Love Makai. Thank you for coming in. It's been a great show. I really, really appreciate having you guys here. I'm looking forward to the next episode. That song is powerful. You can make a point about masterful writing, irregardless of the content of the song. Thank you so much, Craig, for the £20 donation. Hey, what's good, my people?